Stop talking about comic books or I'll kill you. I don't care if the Hulk could defeat the Man of Steel.
Hey there, comic fam. Bullseye Bob here, and welcome to Everything Comics. Hope y'all are doing well. It's been a little while since I've had a show. The last week I threw out my back and I wasn't able to have a show. So here we are again, Saturday morning, and this is the 32nd episode of Having Comics with My Coffee. And this is the show where we get together in a local coffee shop, drink some great coffee, and talk about the comics that we picked up this week. And we're talking about the comics that came out on New Comic Book Day on July 16th this week, right?
16th?
16th, okay. I think 16th, something like that. Anyway, this last Wednesday.
15 to 16.
But thank you all for tuning in. As you can see, I'm not alone. I have my good friend Damian SleepyReader666. How you doing, man?
Sleepy Reader. I am doing good. I'm very excited to be back hanging out with you. Haven't seen the crew very much.
That's true.
A little bit of Sam, which was nice.
Mm-hmm.
But so this is very cool, and we get to talk comics. I have been falling behind on my weekly issue reading, so this forced me to catch up a bit.
Yes.
So that was kind of good.
That's awesome stuff.
I've been reading more omnibuses and back issues and stuff, and as I've been letting issues pile up as the shops open back up. So that's a bad situation.
Yeah.
You know when you start falling behind.
Absolutely. Well, it's very good to see you. Like as you said, we haven't seen each other for a while. Just kind of catching up. How have things been going with the whole COVID pandemic, the thing that shall not be named?
I mean, I'm one of the lucky ones. I don't have job issues or anything, and my wife's job's going very well, and I'm retired, basically. But I'm trapped at home with my 12-year-old daughter.
Right.
So we spend a lot of time together. So it's good to talk to an adult.
All right. Well, glad we can provide you with a little reprieve then. But it's good to have you here, and I'm really excited about today's show because a lot of great comics came out this week. And so we're just going to go ahead and get right into it.
How many comics did you get total this week?
I think in total I got 17 comics.
Wow, so that's a lot to get through. I got 13, which I found a lot.
Yeah, and I haven't gotten through them all yet.
Yeah.
And because there was so many, I may end up doing another show on Monday just to go over stuff that I haven't, because there's like ones I want to review that I'm not. And so we'll see what happens on that. But we always start off talking about the coffee that we're drinking. Damian, what are you drinking today?
I am drinking the cold brew from the Coffee Refuge. Refuge Coffee House.
Refuge Coffee House.
Made by Keith himself, I believe.
Yes.
And it's delicious. It's one of the best cold brews I've ever had.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, he makes that with his espresso roast. It's really good. And if you're ever out here in Portland, that's you definitely got to try that.
It's definitely now my highlight when I come here. I've got to have that.
For sure. And normally I get a cold brew as well, but this morning I wanted to get a pour over. And so I'm trying a new one. This is a Colombian pour over, and it's kind of got a really light mouthfeel, not as full bodied as some of the other coffees, but it's really good. I'm enjoying it. And so that brings us into, you just mentioned the Refuge, and as you can see, we are live and in living color from the Refuge Coffee House, which is at 9217 Southeast Foster Road right here in Portland, Oregon. It's one of the greatest coffee houses out here. Atmosphere is great place to come hang out, read your comics, drink some coffee. If you're ever in town, look me up. Let me know that you're going to be here. We'll meet here at the Refuge. We'll get some coffee, talk comics, talk whatever you want. But this is one of the really cool places to hang out. And so, as I mentioned before, things are tight because of the pandemic. And so in the description, there's a link to their website. They have a lot of great swag for sale, coffee and all that type of stuff. If you do me a favor, go check it out. See if there's anything that you'd like. Make a purchase, and it really goes to help keep the lights on of this great establishment, which we use to film the show.
Yeah.
So I need to thank you guys very much for that. And so before we get into our actual show, we have some announcements this morning. And right now you'll probably see a timestamp up on the screen. If you want to skip the announcements and just go right to the reviews, you're able to do so. But we're going to get into the announcements right now. So the first one is I look for a few scheduled live streams this week. So on Wednesday this week at 5 p.m., look for a live stream to drop. I'm going to be interviewing the writer Anthony Cleveland from Mad Cave Studios. That's right. He has a new comic book coming out called Stargazer that's releasing in September. We're going to talk about Stargazer. We're going to talk about Show's End. He was the writer on that as well. And this will be my first creator interview, so I'm really excited about that. So check that out on Wednesday at 5 p.m. And then this Friday, we have another battle draft happening. Oh. And so the crew is going to get back together, and when I say crew, not the Portland Comics crew, Robbie from Pop Culture Philosophers.
Oh,
Dylan,
yeah, Robbie.
Yeah, Dylan from Dylan's Comics. Of course, we got the old guard Bueller from Bueller's Comics will be Comics with Bueller will be there, and then of course Hero and the Kid. And this time we are drafting the Legion of Doom. We're going all villains this time. So tune in on Friday night.
Not miss. I want to see what you guys come up with that.
Absolutely. That'll be Friday, the 24th, coming up this Friday. Definitely check that out. It's going to be an amazing time. And then for our next announcement, as you know, I'm on another show on the Comics with Bueller channel every Monday morning at 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. The new Coffee and Comics show drops. This is where I get together with Bueller. We do the same thing. We drink some coffee and we talk about some of the best subjects in the comic industry. It's always a fun time. If you haven't checked it out before, every Wednesday, Bueller drops his preview video. And on that preview video, he poses a question and allows you to be able to comment on that question. And then we use your comments to drive our conversation on the show. It's been a lot of fun. And this week's question is, really out there. It's, where do you see the comic industry in the next 5 to 10 years?
Oh.
I'm excited about this one.
I got to weigh in on that one.
For sure. Because a lot of people have a lot of opinions on this. And looking at the comments already, you got conspiracy theories, you got all kinds of different stuff. And so it's going to be a lot of fun to talk about that subject. Definitely weigh in yourself. Go check out the preview video on his channel. But definitely tune in on Monday and see the conversation because it's going to be a good one.
So how long is that going to be called the new Coffee and Comics?
You know, it's a funny thing about that because I kind of was like, I don't think we should call it new anymore. And then he changed it for about a week, and then he went back to new Coffee and Comic Show. And so
maybe all new after a while.
There you go. That would be great. But in the meantime, Bueller's keeping it the way that it is.
It's a great show, whatever it's called.
Yeah, for sure.
Really
for sure. We have a lot of fun. And so anyway, tune in, guys. I really appreciate you guys checking out that show. And then the other announcement is I got a lot of new stuff coming up. As you heard earlier, I have a creator interview. I actually have another creator interview the following week. The people at Mad Cave have allowed me to talk to a few of their writers and a few of their artists. And so I've set up a couple of interviews, which I think is really neat. And then I have some pre-release reviews. I got a couple of comic companies that have sent me review copies of stuff that's coming out. So I'm going to do some pre-release reviews. I have a huge unboxing, a CGC unboxing that's coming up. And so I got a little smattering of things that are going to be happening in the next couple of weeks. Definitely stay tuned for that. Hey guys, I just want to thank you all very much for watching the show and for supporting me and what I've been doing. None of this would be possible without you guys, and I really appreciate you guys watching the show. And so without further ado, we're going to get into the show. That's for sure. And as you know, every week we start off with our cover of the week. Damian, what is your cover of the week this week?
It is Engine Head.
Engine Head, that's
right. What it's
called? by Vault Comics, right?
By Vault Comics, yes. Mm-hmm. I love that cover, and I told you it was my cover of the week, and then I read the comic, and it was just okay.
It was just okay. I read it too.
But it was an awesome cover.
Yeah.
And it folded out, and then you got the entire face.
Yeah.
And it was cool how when you fold it out, the face just seemed different than when it was half a face.
Yeah.
I don't know who the cover is by.
You know,
I didn't see a credit for the cover.
I didn't see that either.
Maybe I'll look it up online and send you a text.
For sure.
We can put the name up there if we find it.
Yeah, absolutely. But it is a great cover.
Yeah.
When I first saw it, it reminded me of the advertisements for the old movie Metropolis.
Exactly, yes.
You know, and it had that vibe, but in
and
gold.
I love that image of the robot in Metropolis.
Exactly. And so I thought it was a great cover. I mean, it had smatterings of bringing up some nostalgia for sure. But you're right. When you open it out, it looks completely different.
Yeah.
But there it is on the screen, folks, in all its glory. That's a great cover of the week. And right on, man. We're into the show here, right?
So what's your cover of the week?
My cover of the week this week comes from Amazing Spider-Man number 44. And this is the Perillo variant, and this has a beautiful Green Goblin cover. I'm not a huge Green Goblin fan, but this painting was just something phenomenal. He's holding up the pumpkin, and the purples and the greens and the oranges that are on there are just amazing. And so there it is on the screen there, folks. I like the Virgin variant more than the dress cover, and so that's the one I'm picking this week, the Virgin, the B variant. And so there it is. There's our covers of the week.
Nice.
Hope you enjoyed that. So now we're going to get into our reviews. And Damian, what is your first book this week?
My first book this week is Space Riders number 2. The title is not on the cover.
Mm-hmm. That's a great cover, by the way.
Are you familiar with Space Riders?
I am not.
It's from Black Mask, and it's basically led by the artist Alex Zirrit. And this is actually called Space Riders Vortex of Darkness.
Interesting.
So it's either the second or third miniseries of Space Riders. And he does what looks like, blacklight poster art.
Wow. And
so it is just an insane ride. You want to make tattoos out of every drawing.
That's gorgeous.
And it's just like this crazy... I want to say like underground comics almost, just over the top, ridiculous space sort of. I'm becoming inarticulate. Space motorcycle gang type of stuff. This time though, it's the universe is at stake. Before it was more about, in a previous episode, just about people getting revenge on each other. But so as you can tell, I just love the art. It's almost the story is just an excuse for the artist to go wild,
for sure.
Which is why the writer is mentioned second. And in fact, I think the original writer on this recently became a born-again Christian and gave up comics.
Oh my
and
word!
They've got a new writer on it.
Oh my
I don't
word.
think you have to give up comics.
No,
to
you
be a
don't.
born-again
Right?
Christian, but
I'm a pastor and I love comics.
He felt that way.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
and maybe for him, comics were mixed up with some other problems for him.
Yeah.
But anyway, this stuff is just kind of art to die for. So if you're a fan of what I'm showing you here, seek out the Space Riders. So there's an original series that's art was at least as good. So anyway, they are gathering the gang of the motley crew of their spaceship that looks like a skull, and getting everyone back together so they can go save the universe.
Interesting.
And that's basically the plot.
It has a feel of being cyberpunk at the same time being cosmic.
Right.
So, and I noticed on some of the pages as you were turning them, it looks like there's stains on the page, like it's an old comic book.
Oh yeah, very good observation. Yeah, they actually make the paper look old and stained, like you found some bizarre comic book from the early 1970s.
It's awesome stuff. Wow, that's a great first book, and I think that's not even on my radar, so I'll definitely have to check that out. The colors inside of there really stand out and are very striking, so I'm definitely going to pick that up. That's from Black Mask?
Black Mask, yeah, and it comes out very infrequently. I think maybe partially because of the problems with the writer that I mentioned. And it's definitely for the type of, if you don't mind the story being just there at service for the art.
Sure.
If you want a really good story, this is probably not the book for you.
Yeah. I love that. See, Damian's one of my go-tos. Damian and Robbie are my two go-tos when it comes to stuff that's not on my radar that I want to check out. And 9 times out of 10, it turns out to be really awesome. So, yeah, trust these guys.
Yeah, definitely trust Robbie.
There you go. So my first book is Artemis and the Assassin number 3. This is from Aftershock. And this one is, the art is by Stephanie Phillips, and the art is by Francesca Fantini. So far, this has been a wild ride. The premise of the story has to do with an organization who travels through time and assassinates people to form history the way they've been paid to. And so I love the premise of it. And so we followed the main assassin, Maya, through most of the book. And in the last book, she was in World War II, of all places. And she was going to take out a famous spy named Virginia Hall. And a fight ensues, and Virginia ends up holding her own against this assassin. Huge fight happens, and then on her wrist is the device that causes time travel. And during the fight, that device is activated, and they end up in the Old West, and that's kind of where they left you off. So this begins right where that left off. We're in the middle of the street of an Old West town, and they're surrounded by a bunch of desperados. I mean,
so now the assassin and her victim have to work together?
They have to work together, yeah. You know, how does that work, right?
Classic situation, I guess.
But in the midst of this, and truthfully, you know, they're thrown into a situation where they have to work together. But bottom line is that the organization who tracks all of the assassinations sees that Maya has made a jump in time that was unauthorized, and so now they consider her a renegade.
Oh, no.
Right? And so now they have started to send their main two assassins to go after Maya. And in the middle of this, being with all these desperados in the middle of the street, another fight ensues. They have to basically fight for their lives. And the main desperado, the main leader of the gang, so to speak, goes after Maya herself. And great action scenes. I mean, the action in it is really, really good. And what ends up happening is he touches the bracelet, actually takes it off of her hand, activates it, and he goes somewhere in time. We have no idea where he's at. And so now they're stuck in the Old West, and not only are they stuck in the Old West, but those assassins show up, and that's kind of where I'm going to leave it because.
Oh my goodness!
But I got to say, the artwork inside of this is really well done. I like the writing. The dialogue is really well done. I've been enjoying it since the first issue.
And which issue is this? How many?
This is issue number 3.
3. Okay.
And the way the action is presented and the way that they're moving the plot line, very well done. And I've been really excited about the issues as they've been coming out. And so really now I'm really excited for issue number 4, and I'll definitely keep going on this. Aftershock has been putting out some really good stuff lately, and I'm really enjoying this Artemis and the Assassin. So that's my first book.
Well, and that's a great alert too, because I have not heard any buzz about this book before. So now it's on my radar, and I can take a look for it, see
Awesome.
if I can find the back issues.
For sure. They see what we do for each other.
Yeah. This is what this YouTube is all about.
Absolutely.
So is that spy a real person from history? Do you know, or did they make her up?
You know, that's a good question. I had assumed that she was, but I don't remember ever hearing about a woman spy named Virginia Hall from World War II.
Right.
And so I haven't actually went and looked it up myself.
Yeah,
so
I don't have
assumed
deep
at this
spy
point.
knowledge either, so she could be real. So that's interesting.
But she's been a great vehicle for taking the story to where it's going.
And it just sounds like fantastic plotting.
Absolutely. and you know, besides the fact that the Maya being this futuristic assassin, she uses a bow of all things, and it's a futuristic bow, but it really makes the juxtaposition of the places in history to this tech that they're using. Really well done. It's good stuff.
Cool.
All right, Damian, what's your next book?
Next up, I have got Jimmy Olsen number 12,
Oh, man.
which is the end of this Jimmy Olsen maxi series by Matt Fraction and Lieber. I forget his first name.
Is it Larry Lieber?
It's not Larry Lieber.
Okay.
That's Stan Lee's brother.
Oh, that's right.
And I love Lieber's art, so I
just
feel bad
activated
forgetting his first name.
You just activated the Lieber thing in my mind. So anyway,
So it's been this usual unusualness of Matt Fraction, where he does his weird thing, where he kind of loves and makes fun of the Jimmy Olsen history, and in this issue, and actually towards the end of issue 11, and then in this issue, he wraps up all the mysteries that he created, and puts a new twist on the world of Jimmy Olsen and Metropolis by the end of the story. I don't want to give it away.
Okay.
But it was quite good. I would say overall this series is both funny and innovative and occasionally boring.
Okay.
So I would be like bored for a little while, and then, oh my God, that's so clever, and then I'd be kind of really into it, and then get bored again. But I felt in the end it paid off nicely, and I was glad I stuck with it for the whole ride of 12 issues. And it is the Lieber Fellows art who kept me going throughout, because he does a fantastic job of doing a modern take on that Silver Age look of comics.
Sure. This is one that I have not picked up. I've been hearing a lot of good things about it, but at the same time, as I've been watching people's reviews from week to week, there's been a couple of spots where there's like, oh, this issue didn't do anything. And so, I since I didn't hop on in the beginning, I've been waiting for it to get done so I could pick up the trade. And I'm definitely interested in it because I do like Matt Fraction's writing. But anyway, I mean, overall, would you say by the end of the series, was it worth the ride?
I do feel it was worth the ride, which is why I'm including it today. There were times where I had doubts, and there were other times where I was delighted. So put on your patient hat when you read it, I guess, or your Matt Fraction hat.
There you go. That's a good way of putting it.
Very Matt Fraction.
All right. I love that cover, by the way. The coloring on it is really nice.
And I almost chose as my panel of the week the final image here.
Oh,
I'm not giving anything away by showing it, but it's a classic.
Nice.
Doesn't give away the plot, but
that's a great picture, though.
Yeah. And it's just full of wonderful art. Just here's a random page, and you just get all this kind of fun stuff. So, Mr. Not Larry Lieber, Steve Lieber.
Steve Lieber, okay.
Steve Lieber is a guy to follow, in my opinion. See what he does next, because he's awesome at this kind of thing.
Okay, for my next book, I have Nightwing, number 72. This, of course, as you can see, has Punchline on the cover. So this is all tying into the new Joker War that's happening in DC Comics. And this one is, written by Dan Jurgens, the great Dan Jurgens, and the art inside of this is by Ronan Clickett. Now, I've not been a fan of the new Nightwing storyline for a while now. They had basically taken Dick Grayson and made it so that his whole consciousness was subverted from the time he was a boy up until now, so that he thought that he was not raised by Bruce Wayne, but by one of the Court of Owls, and raised not to be just part of the Court of Owls, but a Talon of all things, an assassin.
Right.
And so as that evolved, and it came about because of a psychiatrist that had a crystal that was implanting these memories inside of him. And so that was kind of the plot. Never really liked it, but I like how Dan Jurgens is using it as a vehicle to lead into the Joker War. And so the last issue, we found that Dick is basically having trouble because he still remembers all that Talon stuff, and he remembers his life as being Bruce Wayne's ward.
Well, that's kind of cool. 2 sets of memories.
Absolutely. And but of all things, it was all implanted by this crystal. Last issue, we have Joker showing up on the scene, and what does he do? He understands what that crystal's all about, and now he's going to use the crystal for Dick Grayson. And so we know what his plan is. He's going to give Dick Grayson a whole other set of memories where he was raised by the Joker.
I love it. That's making me much more interested than
for
I thought.
sure. I mean, to use that as a plot point to go into the Joker War has been a lot of fun. So in this book, we find his girlfriend, and she kind of notices something different about Dick, right? He's a lot more happier. And he talks about the night before, how the Joker came, and he took him out with one punch and smashed the crystal. And she's like, he's off. So she basically creates her own type of bat signal to attract somebody from the Bat family, hopefully Batman. And of course, the only person that shows up is Barbara Gordon. And not as Batgirl, just as Barbara Gordon. And she starts explaining to him something's wrong with Dick. And so she's all, check it out. So we do finally see Batgirl and Dick, come across each other. And you can see it right off the bat. There's something just off about Dick Grayson. He's really happy. Anyway, what ends up happening is right when the plot starts to thicken, Punchline shows up, and next thing you know, you have both Dick Grayson and Punchline taking Barbara Gordon down, cutting her, and creating the Joker smile on Dick's face. And as they're about to take her out, the Joker shows up, and I'm just going to kind of leave it there because this is where it's all leading into the next phase of what's happening inside of the Joker War. I will have to say that the plot is really fun, This is the type of stuff in comic books that I absolutely love. I think Dan Jurgens did a phenomenal job of writing this and bringing us to the conclusion at the end of the book, which has a great panel of Joker, Punchline, and Dick Grayson all looking down at Barbara Gordon about to take her out. It's very cool. I will say that the one thing about the book that was kind of off for me was the art from Ronan Clickett. There are some pages that look, to me, rushed, not as detailed. And that was really apparent because the pages that are detailed, they almost kind of look like they're crisper and cleaner as opposed to the other stuff. So it has this kind of varying degree that's so apparent on the page. And so that part of it, I think, is the only thing I would say that brought the book down a little bit. But it's a fun read. So far, all of the tie-ins to the Joker War are awesome and fun stuff. And I'm really, really excited to see what happens next. In the last Batman issue, Bruce Wayne was left in a pickle, of course, but the way that they're developing what the Joker is doing, it's over the top, greater than anything he's ever done, and I'm so on board with it.
Oh, wow.
So much fun. And so, have you been reading any of the Joker War stuff?
I have fallen behind, so it's in my
right.
stack, all the Batmans. Mm-hmm. That's one thing that really has fallen behind for me is the Batman.
Oh.
And now maybe I'll look for. Can I read this issue of Nightwing on its own?
Yeah. Actually, go ahead and take it.
Oh, okay. I was going to say I'll look for it at my shop next week. But it sounds like this is a lot of fun.
It is.
And it sounds like Dan Jurgens has taken what might have been a mess and made something really good out of it.
Absolutely. And so I'm enjoying it. Definitely let me know what you think about it. But
Okay.
I would say definitely read the Batman issues of the storyline, Their Dark Designs, and get caught up on that before you hit up on this.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, I'm on board for the Joker War. Can't wait to see what happens.
If you love the Joker, it's a good time to be
Absolutely. So that's my second book. Damian, what is your third book today?
My next pick is Strange Adventures by Tom King and his two artists, Mitch Gerards and Evan Shaner. And this is a brilliant book, kind of state-of-the-art of DC Comics right now. And while I admire it, I also have kind of mixed feelings as they tear down Adam Strange, who's just this fun Silver Age character who, just had these cool space adventures, and I used to love that kind of stuff. So here he's acting, he asked the Justice League to investigate him, I guess to prove he did not commit war crimes, but now he's acting like, why are you investigating me, and all of that. It's kind of psycho. So there's definitely something off and wrong about him and his wife, Alana, and there's this mystery of what happened to their daughter, Alina, I think is her name. So this issue we get flashbacks between what's going on Earth and his previous adventures on the planet Ran. It's Ran, right? Yeah,
Ran.
And his adventures on planet Ran are very John Carter of Mars-like.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that part's kind of fun. And it is kind of, I'm really curious what's going on with him and the Justice League and why he's kind of suddenly changing his whole behavior and his intentions, and is there something weird going on with his wife, Alana? They even hint at it at the back cover. So there's a lot of cool mysteries here and everything, but part of me dreads finding out. I kind of want that, especially I think because we're going through this tough time with Corona and all the social turmoil. I kind of want the happy Silver Age Adam Strange. But I can't resist this because it also it's state-of-the-art, incredibly good, mainstream comics that is not like a mainstream comic. I mean, it's high art, in my opinion, of the kind of artwork. Now, you said you've fallen behind on this.
I have. Actually, my LCS, they gypped me on issue number 2. And I think I just got it last week, maybe. And so I have both issue 3 and issue 2. I just haven't caught up on it yet. I loved issue number 1. And so hopefully between this month and next month, I'll catch up on both those episodes because I really enjoy this so far. I think you're right. It's great praise. It's high comic art and definitely worth your time to check it out. Okay, so for my third book, I have Venom number 26. This is by Marvel Comics. Of course, this one's written by Donny Cates and the artwork by the great Mark Bagley. And have you been reading Venom?
I am slowly following it on Marvel Unlimited.
Okay, awesome
So
stuff.
I'm way behind. But
Yeah, not a problem.
I'll forget whatever you say by the time this issue comes out in 6 months.
Sure thing. I've really been enjoying what Donny Cates has been doing. Of course, this is now the aftermath of what we know, the Venom Island storyline. And this one starts off with Eddie taking Dylan to do a couple of things. And the first of that is to get him to a safe place. Now that Venom Island is over with and he understands that Dylan has some type of consciousness, towards the symbiote realm, and also the fact that he was able to control one of the symbiotes himself to save his dad. Now, Eddie wants to get Dylan to a safe place, and he also wants to figure out what's going on with Dylan because he doesn't want this whole symbiote life for his son. And so we get some great moments with Eddie and Dylan on their way to the final destination, which is actually like a warehouse, safe house. So we got some really heartfelt stuff and a confession from Eddie that really, when it comes down to all this symbiote stuff with his son, he's scared. And I just love the writing that Donny Cates does, the relational things that he's doing with Eddie and his son. Courtship of Eddie's father, kind of type of stuff. Yeah, I love it. But bottom line is that the way the story is starting to evolve, we are leading up to finally having Null come. And in December is when he's finally going to come. The Black King has been advertised all over this week. So anyway, he's taking Dylan to this safe house and to figure out what's going on inside of him. And who does he take him to, of all people, but the Maker? That's right, Reed Richards, or the evil Reed Richards, from the Ultimate Universe. And that kind of starts to backfire on him a bit because, let's just face it, the Maker is not the best of people. And right when they're starting to get down to some answers, maybe a little bit, or a direction, boom, that's when Virus shows up. And you can see Virus on the cover here. I'm not going to tell you who the real identity of Virus is. It blew me away. Open the pages up, and this new character actually ends up being an old character with a new take on him. Absolutely loved it. And anyway, Bagley's art inside of this book is really, he's just been killing it on this. It's some of his best stuff. I've really been enjoying it. Donny Cates is doing an amazing job in both Thor and Venom. I really, truly think that those are going to cross over with each other.
I think so.
Absolutely. But I'm so on board with all this Null stuff leading up to the Black King. I really hope that Donny Cates lands the plane with this whole storyline, because I really wasn't a fan of the Absolute Carnage storyline, but so on board with this. It's been a lot of fun. And so if you haven't been reading this one, last issue was actually issue 25 was actually a really good hopping on point. So that's still available in stores if you want to get it. But I would definitely say that Venom is one of the top books that's out right now. It's a lot of fun. Really moves at a nice pace, and Cates is just killing it right now.
Yeah, to me, Donny Cates is the person who's made, one of the people who's made Marvel exciting again.
For sure.
Along with Jonathan Hickman and Al Ewing. Those are like the three guys that really make Marvel exciting right now.
Absolutely. And so I would agree with that because, truthfully, there's not a lot of other stuff. Well, you can't forget Chip Zdarsky in this.
Oh, how could I forget Chip Zdarsky?
My boy!
So Marvel's pretty hot right now.
They're pretty hot. I would say, actually, DC
they need
is hot
the better
too.
artists.
They do.
That's they've got Bagley there, so that's
for
good.
sure. But
you never know when you pick up a Marvel comic whether the art's going to be good or not.
Yeah, absolutely. But I would definitely say that Venom is the cream of the crop right now, and so definitely be checking this one out. And let me know when you get caught up. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it because there's a lot of really wild and wacky stuff.
Well, when you said, Thor and him will cross over, then I'm like, oh, damn, I'm reading Thor in real time, and I'm reading them, and so maybe that was a mistake. But
did you happen to read The Silver Surfer Black when it came out?
Yes, I loved that.
Okay. that's all I think coming into play.
And that obviously, is part of it all.
For sure.
I hope they bring, I think his name is Tradd Moore, the artist on that, back into Marvel for something.
I sure hope so. That was so good.
He's probably just right for a miniseries. That art style would kind of wear on you if it were every month forever. But it's good for like a shot of weirdness.
For sure.
Yeah.
So there it is. That's my third book, Venom 26.
Seems like an awesome choice.
So, what is your next book, Damian?
My next book is Old Guard Force Multiplied. So Greg Rucka and I think his first name is Leandro Fernandez have been doing this awesome series that's now out as a movie on Netflix. Mm-hmm. I have not seen the movie yet, and I kind of want to wait because they're doing 3 miniseries to tell the whole story, and this is the second of the 3 miniseries, and this is the final issue of that, and they landed it very nicely, so that's part of why it almost was my pick of the week. So I'm afraid that if I watch the movie that somehow it might spoil the third arc of the third part of the trilogy for me. Probably it won't, and probably I'll give in and watch it, but I don't know, I'm thinking about it. And this is such a comic book also, it's not going to be the same in the movie because of the artwork style. Excuse me. So I'm just going to flash a little bit of that. Leandro Fernandez just does amazing things with...
I like the inking in that.
Yeah, the inking and the coloring is incredible. Just incredible stuff with the blacks and the colors. And so he gives this a both realistic and cartoony feel, and I really like that because this is kind of an over-the-top, unrealistic story. It's about a group, if you don't know, a group of immortals who throughout the centuries and millennia have been warriors and mercenaries for their entire extended lives, and whenever they get killed, they just get right back up. Nothing can kill them, even if they have their brains shot out, which is, pushing credulity.
Right.
So it's all highly unrealistic. And it's also unrealistic that if you lived for 4,000 years, you'd still be scraping up a living by being a gun for hire.
Right.
You probably would have found a lot of other ways, a lot easier ways to get rich or
for sure.
do some good in the world or
living
whatever.
in the lap of luxury.
But so it's a cartoony fantasy that is just a lot of fun to read. And I'm not always a big Greg Rucka fan either, but this really won me over, especially in the second part of the trilogy. So if you read the first Old Guard and you said, I like that, but I don't need to read more, this second miniseries is even better. So I'm hoping the third one will get even better than that. So I'm really excited for Old Guard. And I like this structure of 3 miniseries, so it gives them time to rest and do a really good job of it. It's the kind of thing that you can do in indie comics that is harder to do with the mainstream comics. So yeah, I highly recommend Old Guard.
Awesome. I'm the opposite. I've seen the movie, but I haven't read the books. And so do me a favor, guys. Help Damian out in the comments if you've read the books and watched the movie. Let him know if it's safe or not to watch the movie without giving stuff away that would be in the third arc or even the second arc. I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was really well done. I thought Greg Rucka did an amazing job because he did the screenplay for it as well.
Oh, he did the screenplay himself.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
good.
so maybe that gives you a little more insight as to what you're doing with it.
Right.
And I really like where they left it because I know I'm going to get more, and I want more.
So it definitely was left needing more. So maybe when we're done recording, I'll ask you I'll question you about the ending, and then I
Sure.
can maybe figure out whether I can watch it.
Absolutely. So there you have it. I mean, that's awesome stuff. I'm on board. I'll probably, since this is the last issue of the second series.
Right. So at this point, you might want to just wait till the third series is done, and I imagine they'll collect them all together in some nice edition.
That'd be
and
awesome.
it will make a really good story. It's definitely something that's going to read well in trade because each chapter is very fast moving.
Very cool. Very cool. Enjoyed that one. That's one that's definitely on my radar to read now because of how much I enjoyed the show, and to hear your review makes me intrigued.
Yeah.
So
really
awesome.
fun art too. Which
Awesome
is
stuff. So for my next book, I have Once and Future #9 by Boom Studios.
Great book.
And I'm gonna do the Damian thing here.
So this may be the best colored book of the week.
It is.
If we gave a coloring of the week thing, I would have chosen this one.
Absolutely, and that's the first thing that I wanted to say. Of course, this is written by Karen Gillan, art by Dan Mora, and the coloring by Tamara Bonvillain. And I will say that Tamara Bonvillain, especially on this book month to month, is my favorite coloring that's out right now.
Yeah, she's an incredible colorist.
I don't think that you can beat it. I mean, the coloring is just absolutely dynamic. Her use of many different palettes, as a vehicle to push the storyline, is just so well done. Of course, the last couple pages she's using this particular palette, but later on
she really pushed the palette this week or this month. I think,
for sure.
In this issue.
And that would be kind of her normal, like average everyday coloring. But then there's some stuff back here with the character Merlin. I mean, look at the colors on this. It's just so, it just blows me away.
And Dan Mora is an excellent penciler, inker, line artist. So the two together. Sorry for butting in on your review,
not at all.
I can gush about this book a lot.
Exactly right. And I mean, look at this. I mean, look at the colors on that. And then it's a perfect trifecta because I love Karen Gillan's writing. This has been a great book since the beginning. You're right. Dan Mora's line work is so well done. The coloring, bar none, and it just makes for a very fun read all the way through. And so basically what we're finding out inside of this particular book is we pick up where we left off last time, which is the character from legend Beowulf shows up. And the main character, Duncan, and his grandma have this confrontation with Beowulf. And this is where I'm kind of getting a little worried. Just a little bit, right? Because in this new run since they ended the original, we have started to fall into a formula, right?
Yes.
So the first issue, he went up against Galahad. And it was a very quick fight, and they took Galahad out. And then this issue, we have Beowulf showing up. And it was a very quick fight, and he's taken out. And the next issue, we have another character from Legend coming.
Right.
And so the only thing that gives me a little bit of hope is the fact that it seems like Merlin is creating these confrontations so that Arthur will realize his need of Merlin again. And so I'm hoping that that plan plays into a really good part of the storyline. But I think they've glossed over a couple of really great opportunities with some of these characters from Legend by just one and done taking them out really quick. It's kind of anticlimactic. But even with that, I'm still enjoying the story immensely. I love the main characters, the comedic feel that Karen Gillan brings is always a lot of fun. But at the same time, being able to bring a sweeping, epic story that is very comic book has just got me excited every time this book comes out. And so I'm still very much a fan. It's one of my top books of the month, Once and Future. I always love when this comes out. Boom Studios is killing it.
Yes,
absolutely.
They are.
And
my impression was this was originally just going to be a mini-series.
Yes.
So I wonder if Gillan is still finding what he really wants to do with it now that it's an ongoing. And maybe that's the repetitiveness of the pattern, maybe that. And
that's what kind of gives me hope, only because of that background storyline, kind of, pulling the strings of it. I think he has a point, which we're getting to. I would say that the first 6 books that came out, bar none by itself, you don't have to do any more. Unbelievable. But of course we want more because it was that good.
Right. Who wouldn't want more of this fun stuff?
Oh my gosh, right? And so I would definitely say Once and Future is still a highlight of the month for me, but I'm just concerned a little bit just because it's become a little formulaic.
I feel the same way. I'm just hesitating just a little bit to see where he really wants to take this book now.
Exactly.
But I love Merlin as the villain.
Yes.
Even better than King Arthur. I know he still wants King Arthur in the mix, but I really find that villain intriguing.
Absolutely, I do too. And to tell you the truth, I mean, since he started this new arc, we've hardly seen Arthur at all.
Right, he's kind of off stage.
Exactly. So we'll see where he goes with it. But definitely, if you haven't been checking out Once and Future, it's definitely one of those books that should be on your radar, as well as a lot of stuff that's coming out of Boom Studios right now.
Right.
And so there you have it. That's my fourth book. What's your next book, my friend?
My pick of the week. This is the final book.
Woo!
Is Jeff Lemire and Phil Hester's Family Tree. To me, this has it all. Unique, really good art, great color. So I should mention the colorist, who I believe is Ryan Cody.
Oh, I love Cody.
And great script by Jeff Lemire. Jeff Lemire, it has Jeff Lemire-ist. Just a really weird family drama.
Right.
That, where did he ever think of this? A family where people are turning into trees. And I'm not sure where it's going. I feel like we're getting close to the end. But this was issue 7, so I don't think it would be unusual to end something on issue 8, but maybe this is just going to go 10 issues or something. But it's just developed really nicely. I have to show you some of the art. I came very close to using one of these as my panel of the week. I just love Phil Hester's art with the right colorist. It just really pops. And Jeff Lemire, just all the characters are fascinating, even though they're just normal people. We do have the crazy grandpa, who's more like someone out of Pulp Fiction, who seems to be able to keep fighting and shooting and battling, even though he should be dead by now. But other than that, they're all really believable. Oh, look at that page. That's just so beautiful.
Nice.
So anyway, this one builds. So by the 7th issue, it just makes the whole 7 issues great. And that's kind of why it's my pick of the week, that this is a series as a whole that is just becoming so great. It was good when it started. It just gets better with each issue. Have you sampled this yet?
No, I actually I wanted to, and when Excalibur had their big sale, I thought that I had picked it up, and I actually picked up Trees by Warren Ellis.
I can see the confusion. Yeah, Family Tree.
And so I didn't actually pick it, but I've been excited to get into this because of how much I've heard about it. So I will collect it when it comes out in trade.
And it will be a great trade read. Again, another one. There's some books that are better read monthly and some better read in trades. And
sure.
I think this will be a great trade read. And so something to look forward to for anyone who likes Jeff Lemire. It's another winner from Jeff Lemire.
Now on to my pick of the week. And my pick of the week this week is Dark Knight's Death Metal, #2. And of course, this is the storyline being written right now by Scott Snyder, art by Greg Capullo. And so, look, the reason why I love this so much was because the first series that came out, the Dark Knight's Metal, was one of the few events that when I went and read it, almost all the tie-ins, I loved them all. The story was so over-the-top bombastic, and some of the great comic book stuff that I love. And I just enjoyed so much of it. So I was really excited for this series to come out. And I would say last issue was unbelievable. This issue, just as great.
This is my FOMO moment, because I decided to wait on this.
It's okay. I do the same thing when it comes to these big events. I'll usually wait it out, because 9 times out of 10, they don't pan out, and all the tie-ins have no bearing on the story whatsoever. Right. And so, in this particular case, I will have to say that it's really well done. So I know a lot of people were confused on the first book, and I'll just end the confusion for you. The reason why most people are confused is because it doesn't start you off at the beginning of the story. It drops you off in the future after the battle's been lost. So our heroes have already pretty much lost the war. The war is about to end. There's only 6 more planets in the multiverse that haven't been conquered yet. We find Batman has lost his cojones, and Wonder Woman is kind of trying to step up to take up the charge. And we find in this particular case, as the multiverse is one, there are a lot more of these Batmen that are an amalgamation between characters like, superheroes that we know and love, and mixed with being a Dark Knight, right? And I gotta say, some of the ones that they brought up so far, I've just been loving. We actually had a T-Rex with Bruce Wayne's consciousness in it last book, which was just amazing. And so in this book, it's kind of the same thing. I'll say the very first page in this one made me belly laugh so hard. Some of the comedic stuff that Snyder's doing inside of this is over the top great. Besides it being a compelling, story. So you got some laughs, and you got some levity, you got some cosmic just funkiness going on, and I'm loving it. And so pretty much anything that I say about this book is going to be a spoiler, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody. So I'll just say that we know that they dropped him off in a place where the battle's almost over with. Bruce Wayne has kind of lost his nerve. What he wants to do is to kind of take the remnants of everybody who's alive and basically take them to a planet that nobody knows about and kind of hide for the rest of their lives. And at least they'll be able to keep some people alive that way. And Wonder Woman's like, are you crazy? And she comes up with this plan to basically take some of the power from the monitors, the monitor, anti-monitor, everyone, and actually have a chance to remake the multiverse in their image. I'm just going to leave it at that. In the middle of this, we have Perpetua, and we have the Batman Who Laughs, of course, is very centric. We find a new villain inside of this, which is the Darkest Knight. The way the Darkest Knight comes and evolves will blow your mind. It's over the top incredible, and we still haven't seen the Robin King yet, which is coming up. Anyway, Dark Knights, Death Metal, #2, my pick of the week. I'm loving this book so far, and I can't say enough about it. If I said any more, I'd spoil the whole thing for you, so I'm not going to say any more. That's it. That's just it.
Is it all Greg Capullo art?
So far, the first 2 books have been just Greg Capullo art. There's more tie-in books coming, right, but they're not going to be like from individual comic. Like you won't see a Nightwing Dark Metal, right? It's just they
like
have
standalone tie-ins.
They're standalone tie-ins.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm really looking forward to those coming out. And then they have a guide to the whole Dark Multiverse coming out as well. So
because it sounds very complicated.
Yeah, for sure. But it's a lot of fun. I mean,
I love the way it sounds like Snyder just loves to top himself. Like, what's the next crazy level I can
Right. But really, I mean, tying in from that whole storyline in the Justice League, that Batman Who Laughs story arc, and then, of course, the original Dark Knight's Metal storyline. He's really created this storyline that it's just so much fun. Just so much fun. So if you haven't been reading this, don't worry about everybody saying it's kind of confusing. I've just ended the confusion for you. Definitely pick up issue #1. I think it's already being reprinted. And issue 2 came out this week. This is a great time to get in on this book, folks. There you have it. That's my pick of the week.
Man. Yeah, I've been collecting all the metal stuff in hardcover, so I wanted to keep the hardcover thing going.
Sure.
But now I want to read it.
It's a lot of fun.
I might get it digitally, maybe, and then buy it hardcover later.
Yeah, I would say it's well worth it. Well, that's it, folks. That's our reviews for this week. I hope you enjoyed that. I love sitting here just talking comics. Our reviews going back and forth have been a lot of fun. I love having my Portland comic crew buddies on the show, and Damian and I haven't been able to get together for a while, and so to be able to sit next to comic book greatness here and do some reviews has been amazing. So the next part of the show, as you know, is our panel of the week. And Damian, what is your panel of the week this week?
My panel of the week comes from the Old Guard Force Multiplied #5 that I was raving about earlier. It's this, I think you're going to put it on the screen.
Yes, I will put it on the screen.
It's this incredible double-page panel of our heroine named Andy, short for Andromaca, I think, getting shot up by a whole bunch of mob goons. Well, I don't know if they're mob, but anyway, a whole bunch of criminals shooting her up, and she's just taking it because she knows she can't die. And it just is a graphic tour de force, I thought, and it really captures what the fun of Old Guard is, especially in terms of its artwork. So I just love it, and it sort of symbolized the fun of my reading this week.
I actually really enjoyed this panel, even though I'm not reading this book. you sent me a digital image of the panel last night, and great panel, over the top, and so that makes me even more excited to get into this book. Great panel of the week, my friend. Okay, so my panel of the week, definitely if you haven't read Dark Knight's Death Metal #2 yet, I would say that this panel would be a spoiler. So if you don't want to see that, I'll put a timestamp up on the screen of where you can skip to in order to be able to not get this particular part of the book spoiled. And so here we go. So far in the Death Metal storyline, we've gotten all these new amalgamations of Batman. And in the beginning of this book, we have, of all things, an iguana that shows up. And this iguana is actually a costume where not the Atom, but Batum is wearing this iguana suit. And he takes the suit off, and he's on the intercom, and he's basically doing his scouting, whatever this, reconnaissance he's doing, and he's basically making his speech about how nothing will get past him. And in the middle of the speech, a car runs over him, and he just splats. And the artwork on it is so well done because he pops like a cherry. I just love it, and he gets run over by, of all things, the Batmobile with consciousness of Bruce Wayne in it as well, and it's called the Batmobeast, and it's like a monster truck. It just takes him out.
Oh man, now my FOMO just went up another level.
I laughed so hard when I saw this panel, and so there's my panel of the week, folks, in all its glory. Dark Knight, Death Metal 2, and I hope you enjoyed that. So there you have it, folks. There's our cover of the week, our reviews, our panel of the week, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. I've just enjoyed being here with Damian SleepyReader666. Being here
great
with
hang
me.
out with you, and it feels like no time has passed since the last time we hung out.
That's what I love about comic book junkies, man. There is no sense of time.
We're forever young.
We're forever young, absolutely. And so, Damian, why don't you go ahead and let our viewers know what's going on with your channel?
Well, you can, on SleepyReader666 on YouTube, you can catch all my random videos. I have a bunch of random things planned.
Nice.
Because I've fallen behind on comics, I haven't been doing my usual review show, but eventually I'll get back to that. But I'm going to be showing a bunch of different things I've been collecting lately, such as books about Tintin artwork, and I'm planning to do a video about collecting original art soon and things like that. And I also have a podcast that you can find on all the regular podcast catchers like Apple and Spotify called Never Stay Dead, where we review story arcs. So we did the early Claremont X-Men most recently, and we soon have coming out the first Michael J. Straczynski Spider-Man arc is our next thing we're reviewing. So if you like podcasts, look for Never Stay Dead.
I actually love you guys' podcast.
Oh, thanks.
You guys do a really great deep dive on storylines. I love the chemistry between you, and so I haven't gotten into the Claremont one yet because I have to block some time out.
Yeah, they're usually an hour or more.
Right, and normally I would listen to the first half of it on the way into work, and then the other half on the way out from work.
Yeah, when you don't have commuting, podcasts kind of
right. And so, but it is on my to-do list, right? Just like I got my reading list for comics, I got my podcast that I'm behind on. But I would say definitely check out that podcast. It's a really fun time. Your counterpart, what's his name?
Matt.
And the chemistry between Matt and Damian is really, really awesome stuff.
It's kind of cool because we're different generations of comic book readers. He's about 20 years younger than me, or maybe even a little more than that. So we bring very different perspectives.
For sure. But I really enjoy it. Check it out, and definitely check out Damian's channel. If you haven't yet, go check it out. Give him a like and subscribe. And Portland Comics Crew, so good to have you on, Damian. Thank you for coming. So before I end the show, I just wanted to bring up something. I know you guys like comics. I like comics. I like getting more comics. I don't know if you guys have been over to TKO, but TKO has a lot of great comics out right now. And they are a partner of the show, so to speak. And cool. Here we have their book Sarah, which is done by Garth Ennis. I just started reading this. I'm really enjoying it. This is on its third printing right now. And then this is...
And I would say that is like one of the best war comics I've ever read.
Oh, nice.
It's an incredible book.
So that makes me even more intrigued to get into it because they sent it to me for review, and so I'm definitely going to review it, and so I'm looking forward to that. And then we have Sentient by who we just talked about earlier, Jeff Lemire.
The man who can't stop writing more books.
Exactly. And so they have a lot of great stuff over at TKO. Do me a favor, go over and check out their website. They got a lot of great stuff over there. I'll put a link down in the description. And if you see something you like, when you go and make a purchase, if you use the code EVERYTHING20, you'll get actually 20% off your purchase. And it's a code that they've given me, for being a partner of the show. And so check out TKO. They're putting a lot of great stuff out right now, and I'm really enjoying what I've seen so far. And but there you go, get 20% off some new comics, guys.
That is excellent. I'm actually going to go right over there and do that.
All right,
that 20% off. And one, can I mention something more about them? One of the cool things they do is you have an option of getting this box set of 6 individual issues inside, and I love that. It costs more, but it's beautiful, and they're a little bit bigger than your regular comic book size too. So a really unique package.
Yeah, and you can get them in both, like you said, the individual copies,
right, or the trade,
and so they give you options.
A little cheaper to get the trade,
for sure. But when they come out with a book, you get all the books at once.
Right,
you don't have to wait for them
the story is done. It's not to be continued.
Exactly, and I like that.
Yeah,
I really do.
It's nice.
So definitely check out TKO. But that's the show today, folks. I hope you enjoyed that. I know I did. Do me a favor, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoy the content that I'm putting out. I'd really appreciate that. And always love getting together here at the Refuge, especially when I can get together with a friend and talk about comic books. And so, as always, folks, always support your local comic shop, and Excelsior. Take care now.
Debate whether Logan's claws could pierce Steve Rogers' sheath.